The new Spider-Man Ultimate finally decided which suit he will wear. I'm Will, and in today's video, we'll see how Peter decided his new suit, and we'll also see one more person discovering that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Don't forget to leave your like to help the channel. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe so you don't miss anything about this saga. And without further ado, let's get to the story. In this story, which takes place in the new Ultimate Universe, Peter Parker, father of 2 children and married to Mary Jane, allowed a radioactive spider to bite him after Tony Stark sent Peter a suit of Pico technology, the radioactive spider itself, and the information that his life had been altered. Since then, Peter has used his new incredible skills to seek the truth of the world, while his uncle, Ben Parker, who is also alive, is seeking the truth through investigative journalism after leaving the corrupt newspaper that is owned by Wilson Fisk. But Peter has already found obstacles in his path as a hero. The first of them is that his daughter, little May Parker, ended up discovering her secret identity. Well, the chapter begins with Mary Jane and Richard Parker wondering what exactly Peter and May are hiding from them. Mary Jane knows that they are hiding something, and Richard realizes that both Peter and little May are avoiding eye contact. But both Peter and May refuse to admit that they are hiding something. They say they are just spending time together as father and daughter, and even say that it may be MJ and Richard who are up to something. Anyway, mother and son go out to buy shoes while father and daughter stay at home. The detail is that as soon as they are alone, Peter and May had already planned to do something unusual. Do you remember that May said she found Spider-Man's suit so scary? Well, at the request of the girl, Peter decides to create a new suit, and it is May herself who will choose. So let's go to the options. The first suit tested is a black suit, but different from the stealth suit he was wearing, because this one has web details and a big white spider on his chest. But even so, May finds it quite scary and suggests that he put some color besides black. The second suit is totally inspired by Ben Reilly. The difference is basically the colors, because Peter insists on working in black, with a red coat with a white spider on top. But again, May doesn't like it, claiming he looks like an old man. The third suit is very reminiscent of Spider-Man 2099, but in red and orange colors. And again, May doesn't like it, asking him to wear something blue and bring the details of the web that were really cool. Peter takes this comment very seriously, wearing an almost all-blue suit. I don't think he even liked it. Until May finally approves a red and blue suit, the classic Spider-Man suit. Peter decides to take his daughter on a walk with this new suit. And now we can say that we really have a new Spider-Man teammate. Now leave in the comments which of these suits you like the most. Then we jump to Ben Parker and Jonah Jameson, who bought their space in a building apparently almost abandoned. Ben even asks if they didn't have more money to spend somewhere better, in which Jameson jokes that they need to control the expenses, but at least now they have an office to work. Nilsu Peter appears, recognizing that this place is terrible. It's almost a dump. The good side is that he brought a plant to beautify the place, and he jokes that this plant is already making all the difference. Jokes aside, Peter says they'll have to fix this place, but something draws his attention a lot. Ben and Jameson have a picture full of information about the Crime King, the Spider-Man, the Green Dwarf, among other things. Peter wants to know what it is, and Jameson kind of wants to exchange information about what Peter has heard in the clarinet. Peter reveals that a guy in a green suit, who has been called the Green Dwarf, is exploding a lot of things confronting Fisk's organization. The newspaper's superiors are trying to hide this story, divulging articles about the guy in a black suit, the Spider-Man, that Peter thinks is an extremely photogenic guy, a charming guy, a real man of the people. Anyway, It is clear that they must focus on the Green Dwarf. They need to find out what is the story between him and Fisk. And Peter decides to investigate this with his new skills. As a Spider-Man, Peter plans to stand guard somewhere close to the clarinet. He always wanted to do this, like on TV when the police stand still for a while, just waiting for the criminals to appear. However, for a long time, nothing happens. Peter now understands why the police are always eating while they wait, because there is nothing else to do. It is to observe, eat, and wait. Observe, eat, and wait. 2 days go by, and Peter is now sure he hates this kind of operation. He even starts to think about giving up, saying that this was a bad idea. However, while he is cursing himself and cursing everyone in his mind, something happens. He sees an explosion and a fight happening in the distance, and we see that it is the Green Dwarf who is fighting the mercenary. The mercenary even reveals that he had set up a trap for the dwarf, and he fell right because he is not a hunter. And, in fact, when the dwarf was going to throw a grenade, the mercenary throws a letter on the grenade, making it explode in the dwarf's hand, which loses balance, causing a huge fall. The dwarf asks who he is, to which the mercenary replies that he is a loose killer in the world and a true predator in nature. Still, the dwarf does not give up. He shoots a kind of laser from his suit, calling the mercenary Fisk's little dog, but the mercenary easily dodges, saying that Fisk is just a ghost. He also throws some letters that electrocute the dwarf, and reveals that, in fact, he is working for the true masters of the world. He is paid to knock down those who forget their position, but the truth is that he would do it for free. However, when the mercenary is about to strike the dwarf, the Spider-Man finally appears and prevents him, stopping the blow with his webs. The mercenary even starts to think that maybe this is his lucky day. He will have a chance to end 2 problems at once. So he throws his letters against the Spider-Man, who easily dodges, saying that he will need to do better than that. But, as usual, the mercenary was not looking at him, but at a whole structure, a gindast, that was behind the Spider-Man and fell on top of him. The villain even hopes that the Spider-Man has not died with this, but that he has been hit and that he is suffering a lot. But he ends up forgetting the Green Dwarf who shoots on the back of the mercenary, something that, in fact, does not hurt the villain so much. In fact, it only makes him more irritated, who throws several letters and again electrocutes the dwarf, leaving him on his knees. In his last words, the dwarf recognizes that it is a shame. And when the mercenary asks what he is talking about, the dwarf says that it is a shame that a predator as a mercenary does not recognize his trap. This is because the dwarf was distracting the mercenary until the Spider-Man returned and hit the villain with a big blow. And, in fact, in this way, the mercenary is finally defeated, with the dwarf thanking the Spider-Man for his help. Both have no idea who the mercenary is, and Peter suggests calling the police, but the dwarf knows very well that Fisk can easily manipulate the police. So he decides to take the villain somewhere else and praises the Spider-Man suit, saying that he is very cool. What the Spider-Man does not know is that his suit, which Tony gave him, uses a technology of Oscorp, which means that the Green Dwarf can control him. And that's exactly what he does. First, he matches his suit with the Spider-Man suit, and then gives the command to remove the hero's mask. Peter is totally desperate, but there's no way, really, his face is revealed to him in front of the dwarf. But to show that he is also reliable, the dwarf himself also removes his mask, revealing that he is Harry Osborn. Peter also introduces himself, and Harry says that Peter must have already noticed that the world has become a strange and very dangerous place. We have this beautiful panel of the two facing each other for a moment in silence. And this will lead us to a new dynamic, a new vision of Peter and Harry. The chapter ends with Harry smiling and inviting Peter to have a drink so they can talk. Peter gladly accepts the invitation, and this can be the birth of a great friendship that Peter needs. So that's it, guys. Peter is finally wearing his classic suit, and let's wait to see how this new friendship between Peter and Harry will unfold. Thank you very much for watching so far. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, leave your like, comment, share. Also, follow us on Instagram to stay up to date with the news. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe there, activate the bell to receive notifications of new videos, and see you next time.